So, and back to this same point about, yes, we're a religious nation. And that's why we're even having the Presbyterian Church. In fact, the Presbyterian Church is the latest to join. They've also asked their members to have a 3-day fasting and prayer for Ghana's economic hardship after the Church of Pentecost came out to do so. Yes, we are a godly nation, large Islamic and Christian community. But then again, if the leadership, everything rises and falls on leadership, right, Rev? So if the people are, we profess to be godly, but yet ungodly in our actions and inactions, it would be more troubling if leadership doesn't also show that sense, but we only tend to ascribe the godliness when we need the people. In every election year, you see them. They come to your church, Rev, I'm sure. They hand the battle over to the Lord and all the things that we see, right? And to what end?
Thank you very much, Alfred. I will take you back to, I agree with what Sheikh has expressed, that we are highly religious, but we are not righteous. And I also agree that we need to go beyond just the element of being religious and be able to address some of the challenges we have. Now, interestingly, if you look at it, let me say this, Alfred, the symbol of prayer is, all right? Now, one aspect is divinity, and then the other one is humanity. So whilst we come together to pray, we look up to God for strength, but at the end of the day, God expects us to take responsibility, personal responsibility after prayers. So you put divinity and humanity together, then a miracle takes place. Then an answer to prayers takes place. So we cannot just pray alone without taking the necessary responsibility. And a case in point was in Nehemiah. When the situation of Israel has broken down, walls are broken down, there was total chaos, disorder, he led the people to restore the nation. But while they were doing that in chapter 4, they prayed. And in addition to prayer, they said, whilst one hand was working, the other hand took a sword to defend against aggression. They look up to God, and then they also took responsibility. If you go beyond chapter 4, the entire chapter 4, after their prayers, they put in place vision, strategy. They committed themselves to number 3, mission, and they were committed to what they wanted to do and what they wanted to achieve. They provided resources. They put in place the necessary security measures. There was a change of attitude. So you see, beyond the prayer, there was a strategy to achieve their goals. Beyond the prayer, there was a vision, a long-term vision to achieve what they wanted to do. Beyond the prayer, there was the resources and attitudinal change. Interestingly, they were the leaders at the helm of affairs. So they could mobilize the people to look up to God for prayer. Then after that, they took personal responsibility that let's sit down, let's come develop a vision, have a strategy, be committed. There must be a change of attitude and a change of work ethics so that we can achieve our goals. In our case, we are not running government. So religious leaders are not at the helm of national affairs running government. We can mobilize our people to pray. But then when it comes to all these principles of vision setting, strategy, commitment, work ethics, now it's like another group of people will have to play that role. That is why we have the talent. And that is the reason why, beyond religious leaders mobilizing people to pray, church leaders must speak, religious leaders must speak and trumpet, because they are not running the show of government. So they will not be able to go to Jubilee House, set up a vision, mobilize the people, lead an exemplary life, and bring the needed attitudinal change. That is why religious leaders must now trumpet the call and speak and speak and speak. So you can't just pray and then go back and be quiet. So in the midst of the prayer, religious leaders must tell government what are the problems, where we are and what we must do, because we are not leading in government. And that is the difference between the people in the scriptures, because they were providing leadership to a large extent, and therefore they could put in place these strategic directions.
So you talk a lot more about action after prayers. Yes, the prayer will give you hope, but then it shouldn't end there. Something more must be done.
Absolutely.
I look at James chapter 2:14, and it says, "What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him?" Chapter 15 says, "If a brother or sister is naked and destitute of daily bread, daily food." 16, "And one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warmed and filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body. What does it profit?" 17 says, "Thus also faith by itself, if does not have works, is dead." This is the point we are in, Prof. Reverend.
So this is what that confirms what I've just outlined, Alfred, that beyond prayers, there must be action. Beyond prayers, we must call government for account. We must call government to set the needed example. We must call for civic education, whereby people's attitude would start changing. We must probably launch a 7-year attitudinal change, whereby in civic education, we will teach on this national pledge, sing some of our patriotic songs, from primary school, even up to secondary school level. Perhaps even in our universities, any general program that will be holding. If there should be a general assembly of any institution, we should be able to recite our national pledge, have national values. As we speak now, with all my years as a citizen in Ghana, if you should ask me, what are our national values? We don't have an agreed national values. Ask parliamentarians, what is our national values? We don't have. And therefore, we need to reorient ourselves as a people, as a society. Nations that have developed, they have a national vision, national values that drives them. These are the things that we should start launching out. And I believe if we do that with deliberate leadership, we will go somewhere. As a country, there is no national vision driving us. If you ask parliamentarians, where would Ghana be in the next 20 years from now? They have no clue. You should ask the Jubilee House, including the president. They have no clue where Ghana would be in the next 20 years. The only thing they understand is, who would want to win the elections in the next elections. So we are a country going nowhere because there are no national values, no national vision driving our country. So beyond prayers, these are the things that religious leaders must call for and demand. Otherwise, as a country, after 65 years, we will still be going round in circles. Prayer without action is dead. Prayer with action will bring the needed results. Remember, I said I established my principle. What common sense would do, prayers will not do that for you.
God will not do for you with miracles what you have to do with common sense.
Absolutely.
Most Reverend. And you see, as I find a lot of inspiration in Sheikh. You can help me with the Quran as well. Most Reverend, if you look at John 2, verse 14, it said, in the temple courts, Jesus found people selling cattle, sheep, and doves, and others sitting at tables exchanging money. He didn't pray that should change. What he did was he formed a cord of whips, and he whipped them out of the temple. So there's an extent to which prayer can do something, but at a point we have to whip people out. That was what has to happen. You talk about attitudinal change.
Attitudinal change, public demonstration, speaking truth to power. These are the things that must go beyond prayers.